Early on the morning of July 31st Iran time, Ismail Haniya, the political bureau leader of the Palestinian Islamic Resistance Movement Hamas, was assassinated in his residence in Tehran. At the same time, one of his Iranian bodyguards was also killed. The day before, Haniya was invited to attend the inauguration ceremony of the new Iranian president, Pezeshkian. During this trip to Iran, Haniya was also received by Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the new president on the same day. Hamas mourned Haniya's death in a statement, saying that Haniya was killed in a treacherous attack by the Zionists on his residence in Tehran. In the second statement issued by the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps regarding Haniya's death on the same day, it was clearly pointed out that it was Israel that assassinated Haniya. The Iranian state news agency also clearly stated later on July 31st that Israel killed Haniya. This indicates that Iran has a clear attitude on this incident, identifying Israel as the mastermind behind it. It may not only exacerbate the already tense relationship between Iran and Israel, but also prompt Iran to adopt a tougher stance against Israel in regional affairs. However, the Israeli government remains silent on this matter for now. Maybe it is waiting for the right time to respond, or hoping that the heat of the incident will gradually subside to avoid triggering greater international pressure and public condemnation. The White House said that the United States was not involved in the assassination of Haniya. This has, to a certain extent, distanced the United States from the direct relationship with this incident. But it cannot completely eliminate the outside world's speculation that the United States may have played some indirect role in it. So far, no party has explicitly claimed responsibility for this assassination. However, Israel is widely suspected of being the mastermind behind it, based on past experience. Even if it was Israel's doing, it would not publicly admit it, according to the Iranian state news agency. After Haniya's assassination, Iran will hold a 3-day national mourning event across the country on August 1st local time. Iran held a memorial event and funeral procession for Haniya in Tehran. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei attended the ceremony at the University of Tehran and presided over the memorial event. Iranian President Pezeshkian also participated. To find out whether this assassination incident would have an impact on Iranian society, especially in Tehran. At around 9 a.m. on July 31st Iran time, I left home and took a car to Palestine Square in Tehran. Near this square is the Palestinian embassy in Iran. Along the way, I didn't see any arrangements related to Haniya. The people were as usual, and the street situation was no different from the past when I arrived at Palestine Square. Perhaps because it was still early. Apart from the regular Gaza tents and billboards supporting Palestine and opposing Israel, there were no traces of Haniya, who had just been killed. But media reporters had already come to scout the location. Moreover, I also found that some cleaners were carefully cleaning the square and nearby streets as directed. This was obviously in preparation for the upcoming rally. While observing at Palestine Square, I learned from a friend that a rally was about to be held near the University of Tehran, and the rally at Palestine Square would not be held until 5 p.m. So, I walked to the University of Tehran again, passing by the Palestinian embassy in Iran. From the outside, the embassy showed no sign of Haniya's death in the morning, nor had the flag been flown at half-mast when I arrived at the main gate of the University of Tehran. I found that someone was setting up the sound system, and media reporters also arrived one after another. According to the on-site staff, the teachers of the University of Tehran first held a simple event at the mosque on campus, and then walked out of the campus and held a rally at the main gate of the school after a while. The faculty and staff of the University of Tehran, holding high the Palestinian flag, walked out of the school gate. Among them, someone was holding Haniya's portrait. The president of the University of Tehran delivered a speech at the event condemning Israel, mourning Haniya, and supporting Palestine. Looking at the rally at the University of Tehran, the number of participants was not large. There were no slogans shouted loudly, and it didn't last long. I deliberately asked the reporters on the scene why the lady ambassador of Palestine to Iran did not come to the scene. After all, the embassy is very close to the University of Tehran. Some reporters said that this was only an event for the faculty and staff of the University of Tehran, and it was normal for the Palestinian ambassador not to appear. She should show up at the rally at Palestine Square in the afternoon. The reason why I am very concerned about the attitude of the Palestinian embassy in Iran towards Haniya's death is that the ambassador is from the West Bank of Palestine and is the daughter of Salah Zerwawi, who served as the Palestinian ambassador to Iran for 41 years. From the perspective of internal Palestinian politics, there may be estrangement between the embassy and Hamas. At around 5 p.m., I went to Palestine Square again. The approaches to the square near the intersection had been blocked, and the police and other security personnel were on high alert. I walked into Palestine Square and found that the ralliers were as before. The ladies were basically in black robes and black headscarves, and most of them, whether men or women, were middle-aged and elderly. The Iranian and Palestinian flags were held high in the square. Some people even twisted the two flags together, and some connected the two flags with the flag of the Iranian Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. In fact, there were quite a few flags of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps in the square at the rally site. In Palestine Square, I also found that in addition to a large number of portraits of the assassinated Haniya, there were also portraits of the former and current supreme leaders of Iran, the late former President Raisi, and General Soleimani, who was assassinated in Iraq, on a building in one corner of the square. A huge portrait of Haniya was watching the people in the square. On one side of the square, there was a podium transformed from a large truck. Some journalists were filming on it. And of course, there were also people including religious figures giving speeches. The ralliers below the stage would often interact with the speakers on the stage, such as shouting slogans like "Down with Israel" and "Down with the United States." At the scene, I still didn't see the Palestinian ambassador to Iran. Before the rally at Palestine Square ended, I left. When passing by the Palestinian embassy in Iran, I deliberately noticed the Palestinian flag there and found that it had been flown at half-mast by. Then, when returning to my residence, I found that a large image of Haniya was also pasted on the outer wall of a mosque. In fact, on the day of Haniya's assassination, not only was there a rally held in Tehran, but also in several Iranian cities such as Tabriz, Zanjan, and Mashhad. Corresponding mourning and protest rallies were held at specific locations. Haniya was invited by the Iranian government to come to Tehran to attend the inauguration ceremony of the new president Pezeshkian. However, such a very sensitive guest was assassinated in the capital Tehran. The Iranian government must be deeply embarrassed and will definitely hold relatively grand mourning and protest activities, because for the Iranian government, Haniya's assassination during his invitation to attend the inauguration ceremony of the new president is indeed an extremely embarrassing and serious incident. This is not only a questioning of Iran's security guaranteeability, but also a provocation to its national dignity. As for why there were protests, on the one hand, it was to express respect and mourning for Haniya. On the other hand, it was to show Iran's resolute attitude to Israel and the international community. In similar sensitive incidents in the past, Iran successfully attracted the attention of the international community to related issues through large-scale rallies and protests, and conveyed the unity and firm stance of the Iranian people to the outside world. This is not the first time that an important figure has been assassinated on Iranian soil, and the Iranian government has already confirmed that Israel was behind the assassination of Haniya. Next, Iran will definitely take some retaliatory actions against the perpetrators. Both the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and Ayatollah Ali Khamenei have vowed to take fierce revenge on the perpetrators. For example, increasing the frequency and intensity of attacks on Israel's military outposts in Syria, or launching more powerful strikes against the armed forces supported by Israel. In addition, Iran may also step up the infiltration and disruption of Israel's intelligence network, attempting to expose more of Israel's action plans and take actions against its intelligence personnel. Since the Islamic Revolution in 1979, Iran and Israel have been in confrontation. Since the outbreak of another round of the Gaza-Israel war last year, the confrontation between Iran and Israel has escalated, and there have been serious incidents of mutual military attacks on each other's territory. Regarding Haniya's assassination, what kind of retaliatory actions Iran will take, such as counterattacking Israel through the armed organizations it supports, providing more military assistance to these organizations, including weapons and financial support, to enable them to launch more attacks on Israel, is worth continuing to observe. After the memorial event and funeral procession in Tehran, Haniya's body will be transferred to Doha, the capital of Qatar, and is planned to be buried on August 2nd. Although Haniya is the leader of the political bureau of Hamas and seems to be the #1 figure of the organization, because he has lived outside Gaza for many years, it is questionable to what extent he can influence internal affairs in Gaza, or whether he can control Gaza. For example, in the face of Israel's military operations, the on-site command and response may rely more on local leaders, who can make tactical adjustments based on real-time situations. And this may not be completely controlled by Haniya remotely. Moreover, after the outbreak of this round of the Gaza-Israel war, after several months of strikes by Israel, Hamas' military strength has been depleted, and its political influence has also declined significantly. In the post-war reconstruction plan for Gaza planned by Israel, there is no place for Hamas. Therefore, frankly speaking, Haniya's death may not have a significant impact on Hamas, Palestine, or peace between Palestine and Israel.